Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's B.E.S.T standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's B.E.S.T standard. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Sarah McCarthy, the creator of McCarthy Math Academy, and I wanted to take a second to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, where today we're going to break down the following standard. We have MA.4.NSO.2.7. MA, that stands for Math for 4th grade. NSO is number sense operations, and 2.7 is our standard for today, the benchmark. So what is happening in this benchmark? Let's find out. By the way, before we find out, I should say that this document that I'm marking up all over, I didn't create this. The Florida Department of Education releases this to the public to give us access to what exactly is the intention of the standard. So I'm just showing you how I take the documents that they provide and break it down to create the best resources that I possibly can. See what I did there? So this standard says that students will explore, and that is the first stage, the exploration stage. So we're just getting acclimated to whatever it is that's right here, okay? We're going to explore the addition and subtraction of multi-digit numbers with decimals to the hundredths. So here's our decimal. That means we're working in the tenths and the hundredths place. We do not need to worry or concern ourselves with the thousandths place for 4th grade, just to the hundredths. And here in the clarifications, it says instruction includes the connection to money and the use of manipulatives and models based on place value. And you'll notice that the resources that you have access to with your membership will do just that. Some of the related or horizontal alignment, that means other standards in 4th grade that are connected to this one, include NSO.1.5, which is plotting, ordering, and comparing decimal numbers. I'm looking real quick and I'm noticing that MA.4.NSO.2.6 is not in there, and that is determining what 1/10 or 100th more or less would be when you're given a number. So this one also connects to it as an NSO strand. We have a fraction, 2 fraction standards. 1.1 goes with converting tenths, the denominator of 10, to the denominator of 100 and vice versa. Also 1.2 takes a fraction and converts it into decimal form, and then the reverse of that, decimal into fraction form. In 4.FR.2.3, we're adding fractions with denominators of 10 and 100. In 2.2, we're doing 1 and 2-step adding and subtracting problems with money, which definitely connects to this. And in 4.DP.1.3, we have a data with word problems there, okay? Ooh, I didn't do this over here. Sorry about that. An equation means that there is an equal sign present, and of course expression means that there is no equal sign present. Vertical alignment, so where are they coming from? Well, there isn't really anything that connects besides, we do add and subtract in 3rd grade, so that would connect here. And we do use place value blocks. So there is some of an alignment with 3rd grade, but they're referring to the 2nd grade standard, which is 10 more or 10 less there. And then next year in 5th grade, we will be adding and subtracting decimal numbers using more of a standard algorithm approach. So here we're doing the exploration level. We're going to use money, we're going to use base 10 blocks and get in the standard algorithm, but trying to make it very concrete as to what's going on because decimals are new in 4th grade. All right, here is the purpose and instructional strategy section. And here are just a few things that jumped out at me. So of course we're exploring adding and subtracting of decimals. We will be using manipulatives and visual models and having discussions and using estimation and drawing. It'll be so fun. Here it says that we could be using things like base 10 blocks, place value chips, which I did not incorporate that. So you might need to find a little bit extra there. But base 10 blocks, money we will be using, and place value mats we will be using. That's like place value charts. Here it says in common misconceptions that students might forget or don't understand how to add and subtract like place values when we're using decimals. So for instance, they might take something like this expression down here, because see it doesn't have an equal sign, 30 1/10 plus 2 74 hundredths. Students might not line this up correctly, putting the tenths with the tenths and the hundredths with the hundredths. They might line it up like this, and then just add down. So making sure that we really focus on, remember before we used to line up the ones and the ones and the tens and the tens and the hundreds and add from there. We have to apply that same thing using decimals. Here are some examples of instructional tasks and instructional items that they provide. And you can see here, match each expression. There's no equal sign present, so we're taking these expressions and trying to figure out which column they would belong in, which column has the value that's equivalent to the expression. That's what we got there. So basically adding and subtracting at the exploration stage. So let's see what you have access to with your membership, okay? So here we are at the website. We'll go to members, enter here. Taken on the B.E.S.T, 4th grade. And we need the NSO strand, the very last one. 2.7, add and subtract numbers with decimals. Click that. And for this one, you have a lot of bronze level resources, lots of video lessons. We have one lesson dedicated to addition with decimals using base 10 blocks. One with addition with decimals using money as a manipulative. I can show you there how we do that. You can see here 37 cents. And now we're going to add 91 cents to it. So let's add it. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 91. So let's, okay, so you can see there we're using the manipulative with money, and I'm hoping that they have actual money in front of them to be able to do this. It would have been kind of hard to hold up the money in mine, so I just made it more of a digital approach there, using money in that way. Okay, and then we have adding and subtracting numbers with decimals using the standard algorithm to teach that. Over here are the printable guides that go along with those video lessons, and you can see that we're using that estimation constantly in taking on the B.E.S.T, always showing that let's estimate first and then let's solve it and see, check in with our estimation to make sure that our answer seems reasonable. So this is like we're drilling it in this time. And you can see here it says estimate the sum, then use a standard algorithm based on place value to solve. So we'll focus on lining up those digits in the correct places with like places. You also have subtraction with base 10 blocks, subtraction with money, and subtraction with standard algorithm. So lots going on there. You can see, here's the base 10 block video. See if you're scrolling with me. Let me zoom in a little more. First, we're finding the estimation right there. Then we're using base 10 blocks, starting with 3 12 hundredths, and removing some, which involves regrouping, and we go through what that means. And then we model it with a drawing to find the sum. So it's very, very concrete, very visual understanding that makes sense. So that's the bronze. Lots of stuff, lots of good stuff with the bronze. Now, if you have the silver, you have access to even more. So let's go through what you have to support this standard. You have some printables, of course, your answer keys, and then this math misconception mystery video. Let's click on the printables. You can see the video lesson icon. So these are the videos. Again, we're modeling each expression. There's that word expression with base 10 blocks, then model with a drawing. Then after we do that in the video, you have an opportunity for extra practice right there, and students can check with the answer key if you'd like, or you can go over it with them. We have the video lesson with money, and then an extra practice with adding with decimals with money. Video lesson, extra practice that looks like the video lesson. The subtraction video lesson, subtraction extra practice that looks like the video lesson, subtraction with decimals with money video lesson, then the extra practice, lots of good stuff with that silver package. And eventually we'll get to the math mission. So the videos, the whole point of the video lessons is to deconstruct that standard and say, okay, here's how we do this skill, here's how we do this skill, here's how we do this skill. But really, we want to make sure that by the end of it, they can take on that entire standard. And that's the importance of this math mission. It's like a math task. So here you can see, Here we can see that Mark has $5.31 in his wallet. He wants to purchase glitter pencils for $1.99. He estimates that he will have $2 left. Is his answer reasonable? Is his estimate reasonable? Explain. How much change will he receive after he purchases the glitter pencil? A few days after purchasing the glitter pencils, Mark receives $7.78 for completing his chores. How much money does he have now? So it's really throwing them into a real-world situation where they're having to add and subtract and use the strategies that they've learned to navigate that type of problem. Then for the math misconception mystery video, your students will be guided through that video where they will solve the problem on their own or with their group. Then they'll watch 4 characters, which are really just me dressed up as silly characters, solve this same problem. 3 of those characters will make a mistake that students tend to make, and only one of them will solve it correctly with the most reasonable answer. So students will have to fill out this detective report, not only discussing why the character who had the most reasonable answer and justifying their answer there, but also analyzing the work that the characters did where they made their mistakes, right? They did do some things that were correct, so finding the good in the work that they did, identifying their error, and what do they need to know for next time. So all of that, all centered and strategically aligned to MA.4.NSO.2.7. And then for your gold resources, if you have that gold plan, you have the bronze, the silver, and the gold. So this breaking down the best video, this is just an ad-free little perk for having the gold resources, but of course this video is available on other platforms like YouTube, so you can see that there. The main highlight of the gold resource is the mini assessment with the answer key and McCarthy Math 155. So the mini assessment, here's what it looks like. Just taking a quick look at it. You can see the variety of question types, just a quick 5-question quiz. You probably use your county's version for assessments. This just gives you another opportunity to have some test questions with it. And then you have your answer key right there. And McCarthy Math 155 was the program I created before taking on the B.E.S.T. It's aligned to the Common Core standards. So you have to just make sure that you're careful with navigating that. But if you go to 4th grade, you will see that we don't really have anything here because in 4th grade Common Core, we didn't add and subtract decimals. Okay, but you do have a lot that does transfer over. However, if you have access to all 3 grade levels, let me show you. Let me go back here. Let me go back to where it had both of them. If you go to 5th grade, if you have access to all 3 of them, you have operations right here with decimals. It's a 5th grade video where we do add and subtract with decimals, adding numbers with decimals, subtracting numbers with decimals. and so on. So it does go to the thousandths place for some of them because in 5th grade they do, but just know that there are some opportunities there if you need it. You might just need to modify some of the numbers a little bit. That is what you have access to, and that is our standard for today, 4.NSO.2.7. Super. Okay, before we go, let me remind you that what you wake up and you do every day with your life, it really does matter. I know that this profession can be extremely challenging and stressful and exhausting, but it does matter because our kids, our students, they are the future. Honestly, how cool is it that we get to help them pave the way into stepping into their own greatness, to believe in them until they believe in themselves. So thank you for all that you do for your students and for education. Make sure that you are also getting some time for yourself to rest and rejuvenate and get ready for another week ahead of you. You definitely need that time for yourself, right? All right, thank you for all that you do. I think that you are awesome, and I will see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye.